What is up, Marisa? Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. How's your day going so far?
Man, it's been a great day. Just grinding.
Awesome. I love to hear it. Love to hear it. I know you're all over the place, and I really appreciate you hopping on the hierarchy call with us today. So thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure.
And, really what I want to kind of dive in with you on is, you've talked a lot to me and just generally like through the company about how you use different avenues of recruiting. And I think just like, we use leads for production and we use different like diversification, it's the same type of thing on the recruiting side, right? We can't get everyone from one place. So really I wanted to kind of go over what are the different avenues that you and your group are using to recruit at this point in time.
Yeah, great question. And I couldn't agree more. I think so many people come in on the building side, Marisa, and they fall in love with one thing. And the problem is it's the same as if you're working, as a producer. If you're just working one type of lead with one specific vendor, you're gonna come into some problems. You're gonna hit some walls, if you're just working mortgage. Well, we've all seen what's happened over the last 8 months. Mortgage leads have slowed down dramatically, right? So we've had to by default diversify. And I think on the building side, you make a great point. If you're just kind of, going to the same pond over and over again, you're probably gonna be picking up a lot of the same fish as everybody else. So diversifying makes so much sense. There's so many different, we'll call them lead companies for resume leads that you can go to. We use them all. And I'll just say this from the start, and this is something that everybody I'm sure has heard, but it's true. All leads work, but not all leads are created equal. So understanding that you're gonna make money from every recruiting lead, but they all suck as well. like there is no magical lead. Whether you're selling, whether you're building, you're gonna have to, basically work through quantity and volume. And as you do that, Marisa, you're gonna grow. You can't help but to grow as long as you stay consistent with the activity. Does that make sense?
It makes 100% sense. And it's the same thing, like you said, on the production side, the building side, you can't just, like you said, every dollar you put into those leads, you may not feel that instantaneous result like you do when you're booking those appointments. You're out there the next couple of days, but you are indeed building cash flow that's coming behind you, no matter what.
Guaranteed. And the biggest difference, because there's a lot of similarities between selling and building, but the biggest difference that you just brought up is key. On the selling side, you could get your license, literally get contracted with carriers, become appointed, go out on a Monday with a stack of leads in your hand, and then get paid Tuesday, Wednesday. Like that's crazy fast. Like cash flow, like I've never seen anywhere else in any other business I've been a part of. On the building side, though, you have to get out of that like instant gratification mindset and get very, very comfortable with building a pipeline and expecting some delayed gratification. And that requires a little bit of faith because, you're working, not necessarily seeing the money return overnight. Like you're pouring into your pipeline, knowing that as long as you stay consistent with it, it's going to come back, and it's going to come back in a big way. So to answer your question directly, I think there's no magic. I think using a variety, right? So can you go to, some of the popular ones like, ZipRecruiter, like Career Builder, Indeed. Could you use social, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn? What about sponsored ads? All of those things are great options. Could you go to certain companies that will just specifically sell you resumes? There's companies, Marisa, that'll just say, hey, we'll give you a resume for X cents, whatever it might cost you, 30, 40, 50 cents per resume for someone that just uploaded their resume in the last 24 hours onto a major job board. So did they apply to you specifically? No, but they're looking for a job actively. So could you call them and pitch them working with your agency? Absolutely. So I think depending on where your budget is, depending on, are you doing the recruiting as the agency owner? Do you have recruiters? There's so many different options. And to diversify just makes so much sense because you're hitting different angles. And of course, like I mentioned before, in volume, you're setting your agency up for success.
Absolutely. And that makes perfect sense through those different avenues. And like you said, depending on where you're at, where your staff's at, where your budget's at, all of these types of things are going to come into play. So like you said, great options there, but like you said, they're going to tailor to each person at different times, right?
For sure.
And kind of with that being said, Joe, like, does your recruiting process look different if you're recruiting warm market versus cold market?
You know, I think understanding that warm market recruits are always going to be the best recruits. I'll argue that forever. If we go to the typical, FFL conference and stand in front of the room and say, hey, if you were reached by someone that you knew that worked with this company, raise your hand. It's 75-80% of the room almost every time or more. So we know warm market is always going to be the best. Is there a need for cold market? Absolutely, yes. So, I think both are pivotal. Cold market, I look at a couple different ways. Number one, and you guys have all heard this, just like I have a bunch, and it's the truth. We hire cold to get to their warm. So Marisa, if I found you on ZipRecruiter and I start talking to you, I want to get to your warm market as soon as I possibly can, because your warm market is just as good as mine, right? How will I do that? And I'm getting around to answer your question directly, but I'm trying to give you guys a little extra meat, right? How will I do that? I'm going to say, well, Marisa, this, by the way, I'll wait like a week or two. Like, I'll wait until, if you're not licensed, you get a license, or you're close to getting your license. If you are licensed, I'll wait till you're contracted. But I'll say, Marisa, I was looking on your Instagram. You've got some really sharp friends, like really good looking friends. I was about to message them and kind of tell them about our agency. I was just thinking, if I get you involved, I can get you some override as well. So would you mind making some introductions for me? If not, I'll just message them myself, but I would love if you would make some warm introductions. Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, let's
the last thing you want is to see your friends working in this business, but not with you. So now the pressure's on, right? You're going to make introductions. Two things happen there, Marisa. Number one, what are the odds that you're not going to bust your butt now that you have your friends, family coming into this business? Like, you're going to work that much harder to make sure that you're proving the model for the people coming that you know. And then, now that you're succeeding, the people that we are bringing in, your warm market, they have proof of concept with someone that they know. So the odds of them succeeding go up as well. So that is critical. If you are coming in, you're like, man, I don't know if I can start off cold market recruiting today. Start off with warm. Everybody should. It is absolutely the best, the easiest, and it's free. It's free recruiting. And you'll see a lot of movement that way. From there, cold market makes a whole lot of sense for those two reasons. Get to their warm, right? I think that's massive. And then also, I said the second thing I would mention, when I look at the cold market, hires that we make, you have to have the right mindset going in. If you're trying to find, grand slam hitters with every cold market hire, you're going to be very disappointed. That's not the way cold market recruiting works. So the way the mindset should be, in my opinion, is for every 50 people that I hire, for every 80 people that I hire cold market, after I got my team trying to get to their warm market, I'm then just trying to identify who are the Marisas. Like, who are there's out of 50, there's probably one. There's probably one person that is just plugging into everything. Like they're taking initiative. They're showing their work ethic is above and beyond that of, their class that we recruited. And I really firmly, Marisa, believe in the 80-20 rule. 80% of my time goes to the 20% of the people on my team, because you will waste a lot of time trying to, push a boulder up a hill with the people that it's like you're always having to force them to do the things that should be common sense. Does that make sense? So the people that are going above and beyond, Marisa, if you're one of those people, I don't care if I spend 5 hours a week with you. It's well worth my time, because your upside is better than the 49 other people that I'm having to every team call. Hey, where are you? Like, come on. If you can't show up for a team call from an automated text message from our CRM, you need me to personally remind you, I'm going to go spend my time with somebody else. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Absolutely. Spending your time with the right people, but also it's like you're saying, Joe, it's not like we're saying cold market is bad. It's not, but we're hitting cold market to also hit their warm market and help them grow a business right from the beginning too. And that's crucial and critical too. So I love
100%.
that.
So all of that didn't answer your question directly. Do we handle them differently, cold versus warm? A little bit, but not much. As far as our actual onboarding process, it's the same. It's the exact same. They're going to go through, every step of the way the same. We know we have higher expectations for warm market hires. We ran the stats. This is cool for you guys to know. 1 out of every 8 warm market hires turns into a 30 to 40 family a month producer. Wow. 1 out of 8. So go through your friends list. If you got 100 people you can talk to, you probably have 10 or 12 really solid agents in your friend group. You talk about setting yourself up for success. Imagine, Marisa, could you imagine if everybody on your team had 30 family a month producers on their friends list? That's a lot of passive income and a lot of families protected. That's a quick way to really make a dent in this business.
Absolutely. No, that's huge. That's huge. I love that. And that's a great stat to know too, Joe. Just like you said, 1 out of 8. If you think about it that way, it's you get, 40 people in the class. It's like you're building your team. You're something real good's going to come out of that for sure. So yeah. I love that. And then Joe, with kind of the numbers coming out each and every week, there's so many different numbers as, from a leadership stance that we can focus on, or even a personal production stance that we could focus on. But what are you encouraging your growing leadership team to focus on each week in terms of moving the needle? Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah. I think it's important for entrepreneurs to have a good macro view, but also keep in mind the micro view, meaning it's important to look at the whole picture, but you get the needle to move from small details, not big details. Does that make sense? So we preach slow down to speed up. It's really, really easy to get busy recruiting in this business, and you throw 100 people in the funnel, and then we don't mentor any of them. And we're like, I only want to work with the people that are self-motivated and the people that take initiative and blah. Me, as a younger salesperson in my early 20s, dude, I needed to be micromanaged, just being honest. I needed to be micromanaged a little bit. I can't imagine if my mentor back in the day just gave up on me because I didn't do every little thing right. Who knows where I'd be in life. So I think I think it's our job to help develop some of the talent on our team. Now, how do you balance that with, we don't want to push a boulder up a hill? We're looking for people that are doing a lot of the things right. We're not looking for perfection, but meet me halfway and I'll meet you the other half. That's the way I look at it with agents. Now, I don't tell them that. I tell them, hey, look, my time is valuable. I look for the people that are putting their best foot forward. They're showing up to trainings. They're plugging in. Dude, call me. I tell every new agent, call me. I'm not too busy for anyone. Anything you run in a snag with, this is a business that sucks if you're on an island. If you're trying to figure this all out on your own, it's miserable. And there's no reason to do that. We have a team culture, team environment for a reason. And the more you can plug into that, the business is more enjoyable. I guarantee you're going to make more money. So your cash flow is going to be better. And then you're growing. And it is very lonely at the top. And there's no need in this business to be there alone. Take everybody with you. Take as many people with you to the top as you can. And that's our goal with our team. We just preach that constantly. I don't want to be the smartest guy in our agency. I don't want to be the highest performing guy in our agency ever. I hope that everybody outshines me. And if I'm there at the top and there's a bunch of people with me, amazing. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. And I think I love the slow down to speed up. I think that that's huge because like you said, I know that for me, I was, barely 20 years old coming into the industry. And if my mentor, like you said, didn't kind of lean in with me, I would have been like, well, I guess I just don't know how to do this thing, right?
My goodness.
So I love that concept. It makes perfect sense. And then there's the essence of progress, not perfection, right? You're saying, hey, if you're doing the best you can, we're seeing that you're plugging in, you're reaching out. I'm not having like to reach out to you 10 times a day to tell you about everything. You know, like that's all we're looking for, right?
Marisa, check this out. I don't tell this story often because it's embarrassing, but it plays right into what we're talking about here. My very first sales job, I was 19 years old, an absolute idiot, like as immature can get. And it was a straight commission job. Luckily, I was in college and like I had my semester paid off. And so like I didn't need cash flow, but I went 90 days without a single sale. My very first sales job, 90 days. I was working with this marketing firm in Chicago. I was literally not like one of the bottom sale. I was in last place every week for 3 months. And like, here's the thing. I wasn't being lazy. Like I actually was working. I just am like denser than the average person, I guess. So like, I'm trying to like figure it out, and I was shy, and I'm trying to like, and I think back on it now, and I think about how many of those people I have given up on in my management career. And the guy's name is Jim Slavo. I owe him a great debt. He was actually in my wedding at this, years ago, but he didn't give up on me. He kept encouraging me. He kept working with me. And guess what? A light bulb, like it wasn't like I gradually got better. Like it was right at 90 days, a light bulb went off. It all like clicked in my mind. And I went from the bottom to the top 3 every week. I was there for 6 years. And the point is, I wonder how many agents we all have on our team that are young Marisas, young Joes, that they haven't had that light bulb moment yet. And if we're willing to like stick in there with them, even when it's inconvenient, and encourage them, as long as they're showing up, as long as they're putting the activity and they're putting the work in, you never know when that aha moment is going to take place. And you never know what that's going to do to your business.
Yeah. And, Joe, thank you so much for sharing that with me, because I thought it was always just like me, when I was younger, and I was like, I must have just really been, not there. But like you said, it was my first real job, so to say. And I was trying, but I just wasn't working in the right area, so to say, the right arena, right? And like you said, it wasn't necessarily for me gradual either. It was like I wrote no business, Joe, for almost 2 months. And by the way, I wasn't with FFL, right? However, being able to do that, and then my mentor being there, same type of situation, it wasn't gradual. It was an aha moment. And then I was, boom, always at the top, right?
Isn't that crazy?
So, it is. And when you just said that, like, I wonder how many young Joes and Marisas are out there. And it's like, like, let's not like, I will not lose sight of this. So thank you for bringing that up. You just refreshed my whole mind in a good way. So thank you.
I love it.
And then, your organization has seen massive growth as the past, since you came in, it's just been blowing up like crazy. Yeah. What do you think are some of the key factors that have helped you and your agency, see the growth that you've seen over the past, like year or so?
I think there's so many things. Number one, I don't take credit for any of it. Like our team is a team. And so we share the successes, we share the failures, and we take personal responsibility. So like when we have a bad month, like I'm not pointing fingers. No one on our team is pointing fingers. I think we all do a really good job of looking in the mirror saying, yeah, like clearly I did something wrong. What did I do? Good example of that is like, we were growing month over month over month over month. And we had like a 2-month period where we kind of hit a wall. And I had to look in the mirror and say, what changed? And what I realized is like, I wasn't preaching our vision enough. Like I stopped talking about our goals as a team enough. And so, the Bible says without vision, or the Bible says where there is no vision, the people perish. And I think that's a great principle in business. It's our job as leaders to cast a vision for everyone on the team to get behind and move towards, right? So I think that was really critical. We all take responsibility. We all take the credit and the blame when things go well or they don't. I think we do a good job of preaching the simple principle: lead flow plus workflow equals cash flow. And there is no substitute for that. Like, a lot of agents come in and they just do not want to buy leads. Now, if you are in the large minority and you have a massive network and you can go sell a lot of insurance without buying leads, like, good for you. But you are like in the 1% of the 1%. So most of us, we're either getting clients one of two ways. We're either buying leads or we're cold calling. Well, Marisa, I cold called for 6 years of my life, door to door, 5 days a week, 12 months out of the year. Marisa, it sucks. So like, for people that want to cold call, God bless them, like, more power to them. They want to go knock on doors, go B2B. But the easiest and fastest way to grow your business and build cash flow is buying leads. Our average agent gets a 5x return on every lead dollar they spend. That doesn't exist outside of this industry that I'm aware of. And I own a couple other businesses. So it's a great ROI. We really get agents buying leads quickly, and then we teach them how to convert those leads, which is where the workflow comes into place. You can buy all the leads in the world you want. If you're not going to have your activity high enough, working hard enough, your cash flow isn't going to be there. So having those three simple, and simplicity is the key, because who can't understand that? Like, anybody can understand lead flow plus workflow equals cash flow. So we just preach that constantly. And I think we've seen a really good conversion rate with our average agent, our average new agent. And you know, I'll give you another cliche. I'm full of cliches, but we like to inspect what we expect. So, you know, we hold our new agents accountable to live dials and role plays and all of those, sorts of things that really move the needle. And I think that's helped us to maintain, you know, a steady month-over-month growth.
I love that. You hit on a lot of different things there, especially from like self-accountability. And I'm sure that it's not just you, Joe. If you guys, like you said, you had a down month for those 2 months. I'm sure it wasn't only you that on your team that was like, let me take some self-accountability and see what's going on.
Right.
I'm sure it was your whole group, you know, that was like, hey, what could I have done better last month? Or what am I doing differently this month 100%. Than I was the month before? And that speaks volumes of just the type of people you're working with and who you're in business with, right? Yeah, and I think, you know, if you can't take self-accountability, like, you should probably get out of business. And I say that in the most loving way, but if not, you're going to just blame everything around you and it's going to be awful, right?
It's a nightmare. And it's funny because you can find out pretty fast, Marisa, like, who are going to be your problem children, because they take no responsibility for anything. And like, I try and like figure that out fast because like, this business, there's enough to do without babysitting whiners. Like, I'll work with, like I mentioned, anybody that's working hard and accountable, like, I'm in. Like, I don't care. Call me at 2 a.m. I got you. But if you will not take responsibility and you're a whiner and you blame the lead, you blame the area, you blame this, dude, go work. Like, I will happily sign your release. Go work with somebody else, because you don't need to work with.
Amen. No, and I'm with you there. Exactly. So self-accountability is huge. And like you said, you know, usually we try to identify that early on. That definitely helps us out from a leadership stance. Yes. You know, but I also love, I always say lead flow equals cash flow, but you know what? I miss the lead flow plus the workflow. So I love that equals cash flow. And that's huge, because we just know everything in this business is activity. You also mentioned that 5-time return, right, on that ROI. That's what I typically see off of my own lead purchases, is at least a 5-time multiplier minimum. So 100%. Like you said, what other business can we do that? Like, you know, I don't know.
Nothing that I've seen.
And I was going to say, and Joe, if you also don't know one, I'm pretty sure there's probably not one at this point in time. But, you know, that kind of leads me to my last question, really, that I wanted to hit on with you, Joe, is it seems like your belief in Family First Life, since you've come in, and just kind of from what I've experienced through different trainings, being able to talk to you, your belief is just simply, it's unwavered. Like, no one's touching your belief about the opportunity here at Family First Life. And I know that in order for somebody to see success long-term, they do have to believe in what we're doing here. So question to you would be, why do you feel like your beliefs not wavered about the opportunity?
Man, that's an awesome question that no one has ever asked me before. So I'm like thinking about it in my head, because you're right. I've never once doubted this opportunity, never one, not a single day since I started. I think honestly, we have phenomenal leadership. Like, if you haven't spent time with Sean Mike, do whatever you have to do to spend time with Sean Mike, because he is everything that you expect him to be and more. Like, he is the hardest working person that I've ever met. And that's rare in a position like his. So A, I have a tremendous amount of faith in our leadership. B, I have so much proof of concept in A, my own experience with Family First Life, and B, people that are close to me, my family members. I've seen it change their lives. My close friends, I've seen it change their lives. When you have an overwhelming mountain of evidence that this is the opportunity that we all, like, that it is, I know that it is, there's literally nothing that anyone can tell me that would change my mind. Like, I've seen it. Like, not to be like funny, but I look in my bank account every day and I see it. And I think a lot of people, maybe this is their first business, and there's hardships and challenges in every business. And I think if you don't know what running other businesses looks like, you probably can assume that the grass can be greener elsewhere. It's not. Like I own and run other companies in different spaces, and this is not easy, but this is the simplest business that I've ever been a part of. It doesn't discriminate. It allows anybody to come in, build a business that can generate 6 figures monthly in 12, 18, 24 months, depending on how hard you're grinding. Like, Marisa, the average business isn't even profitable outside of this industry in the first 24 months. Like, it's wild when you realize what we have our hands on here. And so, yeah, for me, I mean, I can keep going, but I am 100% confident in talking to anyone, no matter what they're doing, how much they're earning. This is a phenomenal opportunity to plant your flag and build a business, no matter what kind of business you want to build. You could be a sole proprietor, help 20, 30 families a month, make a phenomenal living with no stress and no management, or you can come in, build a behemoth agency where you've got a tremendous amount of passive income that you could, if you decide to, sell, for 8 figures. So there's so many ways you can skin this cat. And that's to me, the opportunity at FFL.
I love that. And, Joe, I want to just like mic drop it there, because that was a beautiful way to answer the question. It just seems like it came from the heart, from the leadership to the essence of, you're like, I'm involved with, I run other businesses, and this is the simplest one. And it's the easiest way to profit, or the easiest way to get the quick ROI, right? Wow. So that's awesome. Joe, thank you so much for being on with us today. I appreciate it. And I know that Paul appreciates it as well. So appreciate you. Hope to see you soon. And thanks for being on. Take care.
Thanks so much for having me. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.